I'll call this April 1st, 2024 meeting of the Grafton Cable TV Oversight Committee to order. We have just, let me see. We don't have anybody other than the ones we can see on the screen, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Let's establish Bob B.
I'm present.
All right. Carl.
Carl Parisi present.
And Town Administrator Evan.
I'm here.
And I'm here. At this point, we do public input. If there's any public or anybody who wants to have something to say, which is within our purview and not on our agenda, this is your time. Is there anyone? I don't
I
see
have nobody out.
Well, but sometimes members have said. All right, which brings us to why Evan is here. There's quite a lot of concern about the cable fund oversight and what's been happening. One is that we have not seen the budget, and that needs to, as at least Bob believes, that each year we have to vote money to come out of the fund to authorize its use. We didn't used to have to do that, but the last few years we do. But we need to see the budget in any case in order to oversee it. There's also a concern or question about the handling of the studio furniture purchase. What can you tell us, Evan?
Oh, okay. So did Mr. Dotoma provide the budget to all of you and ask for feedback in a written report?
No, he did not. Not that I did, not that I saw. Did anybody else see that?
I have not.
Yeah. Oh, Andy, now that you're here, can you hear? Hello, Andy, you're muted. Corson, now that you're here, can you hear and speak? Hello, Corson. Well.
I can hear you, Bob.
Who was that?
It's Andy.
That's Andy. How about-
Corson, can you tell us you can hear us? Corson has a bad microphone.
And did I get Michael?
Michael,
Yeah.
can you hear us?
I can.
Okay. So Corson cannot hear us, but we still have a
Or, well, I don't know what's. This course, we don't know whether Corson is trying to solve a problem or what. We don't know whether he can hear us. This is wonderful. Well, Evan, we never saw anything to do with the budget.
Okay. That's confusing to me because I was shown a document that I was told was sent to the Cable Oversight Committee. That was a report and an overview of excuse me, I'm just pulling it up now. The FY 25 budget, it was sent on 3/1/2024. Do we not have that?
Well, first of all, it's way too late, but let me see. Oh, That would be. On 3. Oh, let me check now. Um. From him. Oh.
Did you have a meeting on 3-1 or no?
We had a meeting. Forgotten what the date was, right around it. This was probably input to it.
Yeah, we did have a meeting on 3-1.
Um,
I'm looking at 4-1 now.
no, actually the 4th. We met on the 4th.
Yes,
Um,
correct.
Oh. I don't, no, I see him, I see an email from him. Which somehow. We all missed. Okay. So, what do I do?
Testing,
I'll-
2, 3, test,
Yeah, we hear you, Corson.
audio. Speaker. Jabra,
So,
Okay,
I-
I'm gonna, I think he only sent it to me and I didn't catch it. So that's, but this is only on 3-1.
hey, can I be heard?
I
yes,
can hear
Corson, you can
you.
be heard.
Good.
Okay, I'm forwarding the message in question to all of you, not Evan,
Yeah, I don't need it, Bob.
but you've seen it. So Bob Berger needs to look at it and figure out.
I want to share my screen for a second.
Whether the things we're worried about are,
Mr. Chair, can I share my screen?
yeah, sure. You're the one who has the buttons to do that.
No, I gave it to everybody.
Yeah, well, I don't. I'm not privileged to know how to do those things.
Evan, do you see my screen?
I can.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, we can.
Is this what you're talking about?
Nope.
Really?
No, there was a memo that was sent from Mr. Datoma to the committee.
Oh,
Well, let me see. I was. Oh, in my mail.
Bob, we can see your screen still.
I know that.
Okay.
I do know that.
I know, just you're going into your email, you made me nervous.
I do.
I,
So this is what I just did here. Just looking for Bob D. And looking for the date.
But I
well,
think Mr.
you're not
Haskins-
gonna see it. It
Okay.
was sent to me, I think. And I didn't realize it. I have, the only thing I have from Bob is. I think what. I have. Attached to documents, maybe, no, I have invoicing in that email. And I have. Two pages, which Bob should have gotten, I think. Well, maybe not, maybe not. I'll try again to. Look, Bob. Take a look at what I sent you and see if there's more than one attachment.
I see a one-page spreadsheet.
I see 1, 2, 3, I see 4 attachments.
Okay, well, that's what, okay, we have a page with personnel increase of 4.436% and so on.
I thought that's what I
I
just
have a
showed.
table report. And I have another spreadsheet, which is expenditures. And I have another one about invoicing.
Okay,
Okay,
let me try
so
this.
I think that one of those two, well, I don't know, Evan, what?
I'm gonna share my screen one more time and see if this is the document that we're talking about. Evan, can you see my screen?
Yeah,
And is that the document that we're talking about?
no.
Oh, then I can't, I tried.
There's a, hold on, 1 second.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
while our town administrator is looking for this, well, I think he found it.
So this is the document that Mr. Toma told me that he had sent to the committee.
to the committee. We didn't see this. Well, I didn't see this. Did anybody else see this?
I don't remember seeing this.
I did not.
I have no idea what it's all about.
Date was March 1st at the top.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
I remember seeing that in some report down there at the bottom that after talking to Evan, he ordered the furniture in January.
Okay,
I remember seeing
The-
that someplace.
okay, that document, which is labeled as March 1st, 2024, that was provided for our March 4th meeting.
Okay, so the document did make it to the meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the document made it to the meeting. At least we have come
Made
to
it that,
that conclusion.
okay.
Well, all right. Anyway,
So,
Bob, take a look at it.
Mr. Chair, I still want to make one statement here. And Evan, I apologize for putting you through this confusion or whatever you want to call it. We have in the past worked with the studio department head. We've worked together to try to figure out what we all want collectively for upgrades and more advancements. And that's the only thing that we're missing right now.
Yep.
I mean, it's so difficult, me as the treasurer, because I can't do anything. Meaning I try to help build a pathway so we can go 5 years into the future, like we built the studio down there. We based that on 5 years, and we're at the end of the 5 years now, which we just spent $1.4 million 5 years ago, and it's being paid off now. So
Right.
that's kind of what we kind of do in this committee is we work on goals and we look at 5 years into the future to figure out where we want to be. That's why we're redoing conference room F right now, because it took us a couple of years to get to that point. And without cooperation, it's cooperation from everybody. It's just, we're not getting a fluid working relationship. And I desperately like to go back to that, to make this, the Cable Oversight Committee, what its charge is really doing. That's not running the studio, it's the needs of the studio. That's the only thing that I want to do here. That's, I just want to be the AV club on steroids, like I've been saying forever. And
I
just
have
keep
heard that.
advancing on what we have until that money dries up, which it could dry up in 10 years. If everybody keeps on cutting the cord, it's going to dry up. So we're trying to hedge everything and get us in a good spot. So if and when that does happen, we're going to be sitting all right. And I think that's the biggest thing right now, is to get us all back together.
Okay.
Col-
Sorry, go ahead, Corson.
Yes, I was simply going to say is that we all collectively want to do what's best for the town, for the cable television system that we have, and it's collectively in terms of those decisions that help with that. Um, and I know that when Bob DeToma was on the committee, and also being the manager in the studio, was beneficial in that response, because we're able to hear firsthand his opinions and so forth that were going on there, of which could then be discussed openly with the other members. But for the circumstances now, it's almost as if we have other parties at B that are uh, making it difficult for us to have that camaraderie to go over the information and decide what's best.
Okay. What do you mean other forces that be, or other powers that be?
Well, for example, like in particular, the issues with the studio, um, with Bob pursuing the studio desk, and we made pitches to him about what we thought might be a better alternative, and we wanted to hear what his opinion was and discuss it further with him, and that never happened. It just was, that was what he wanted. He ordered it through you, you accepted it, and it was done, without any of our involvement in it whatsoever. And that was a little bit alarming, I think.
Okay. So your general interpretation of oversight is like, so we need studio furniture. This committee would pick the furniture?
The,
We would approve.
the committee and now with Bob would reach a conclusion about that. If he had come and talked to us in December, we would have settled it, I think. But he didn't. I found out whatever, a day ahead, like almost the day of the meeting, that I was going to be chairing it, because he wasn't going to be here anymore. And he didn't even have the courtesy to tell me. And I've never seen what he may or may not have said about why he was dropping out of the committee, just for what that's worth.
Mhm.
It's not too helpful.
And as it were, the only idea that was ever presented was the initial one that he provided, without any further examination of anything else that was out there. And that was just the beginning of the discussions of this. Next thing you know, it's being purchased and it's being shipped, and now we've got it.
Yeah, it may have been my fault. I think when he brought it up, I was probably the one that said, gee, I wonder if we could do something better. You know, we could have the money if we needed to spend more to do something that's a little more elaborate and you know, more flexible,
Right.
whatever. And then we talk back and forth, and he'd explain. No, we'd come down to a conclusion, and he'd say, no, whatever. But we didn't have that. He just went right to you,
Right.
and you okayed it. I think that the idea is, you know, the routine expenditures, they need to be taken care of on a regular basis. And I think we should know what's being spent. Probably, I don't know whether we see what the salaries are, or even, I didn't know that we had a new employee. No one bothered to mention that to me. Which I think would be an appropriate thing for the studio manager to report to us.
Mhm.
I had to find out from Bill Robidoux had a planning board meeting. I think it was a planning board meeting. Anyway, that's
Is
that.
that Todd we're talking about?
Hmm?
Is that Todd's the new employee that we're discussing?
I don't remember the name. It was just like
I
past me.
believe so, yeah.
But it's a new guy who's doing some, some of the meetings stuff. I think he did the planning board meeting. Actually, and he's done he's done several of them.
Okay.
But we've known who our people were. And we didn't know.
Okay.
So it'd be nice to get back to where we see the bills. And he's been sending some stuff about the bills, and not that we're approving them. I don't know whether that would be workable for us to approve them. It works on the planning board, but I think it's a different situation. Mostly those are bills for services that we get, engineering services particularly. This is for stuff we get, and I suppose people get paid. But Courtson, were you?
Yes, I was just going to say, again, I'm thinking back in the earlier years and so forth, where when it came to purchases, there were basically two kinds of purchases that had to occur. There were some which were ones where we discussed and evaluated and determined what we were going to spend the funds on, and then we vote on it and we accept it, and that would be that. There were some purchases that were kind of like put through very quickly. For example, if there were need for more tapes that had to be purchased that they were running out of, or they had to have specific bulbs for one of the uh, lights that they had in the studio, where they had to get something done very, very quickly, and it was under a set amount. I think, was it $400, Bob?
Originally it was me, since I was the chair, and it was 500.
500.
Twice here in the last few years, it went to 1,000, and those things have been
So,
kind of
so were
happening.
there were things that could be purchased and handled without a vote from the committee that would be accepted and put through, that were basically essential purchase that are needed for immediate circumstances that did occur. But any kind of other things that needed to be done, if there was to be any kind of expansions, or we're adding something to one of the studios, like microphones and other equipment that needed to be done there, they're not considered in that category of, oh, we need to get this done and get that purchased. It was something that was planned as to a concept of what we're actually doing in the studio. So there's a definition for the most part of what is considered to be a sort of like a quick fix kind of purchase, and one which is discussed and planned and approved by the committee. And that's where we kind of need to go back to things like utilities, paying for the electric bill, paying for the water bill, those things. I suspect those can be more or less automatic. Uh, we can certainly review them for the sake of bookkeeping, but again, it won't take an approval from our group to make those sort of things happen.
Yeah,
That's all I have to say.
the committee's oversight was that for that 500 or $1,000 part was through, say, the chairman or whomever we might say at any given time, saying okay, and that worked perfectly fine. And it exercises oversight, gets response quickly. I don't know that I ever remember saying no, and this goes back many years.
Decades.
Anyway, the having the person in charge of the studio goes back to the nineties. Anyway, we had the call them charter. It was Greater Grafton Cable, and then it was Greater Media, and it was Charter. It was all the same company, and they provided a person. And actually, all right up until we moved to our studio, and they wouldn't put their person in our studio. That's when Tim apparently made her, said something about what to do, but he didn't share that with us, and he didn't work out what we're basically talking about as anything different, and it never functioned any way different. All through until December of this last year. Bob did what we were talking
Okay. So generally speaking, in municipal government, and I rewatched the select board meeting where they discussed the charge of this committee. Generally speaking, oversight is a broader term that deals with the budget and appropriations in general, but doesn't usually get down to the granular nature of what color a desk is going to be or what type of microphones you're going to buy. Those are generally handled by the department head. So when I see a PO that is for a piece of furniture, as long as the money exists in the line that it's being called from, I will generally sign that without an issue.
The thing is that the things that we're talking about, you look at the rest of our charge, make cable great, make access great. The things we're talking about relate to that. Also, you have you have had a lot of technical expertise, or a range of technical expertise on the committee. They might know more between us about microphones. Not that, I guess we decided what should be done about wireless mics. And actually the mics that are used in the conference rooms. That's part of, I don't think there's too big a gap there between what you were saying and what we're saying. It should be when there, I think the intent is that when there's expenditures out beyond the normal monthly routine stuff, that the committee should be included, and we reach an agreement about it. I don't think that that's going to be a problem as long as we have the exchange and the interaction.
So and I'm trying to work through this, so I'm not being difficult. I'm just trying to, so let's say, I don't know, Mr. Berger wants I'm gonna just keep using the desk because we'll just beat this horse to death here. So Mr. Berger wants the desk to be brown. Mr. Datoma wants the desk to be black.
No. Mr. Datoma wants a small desk that really only looks like it'll handle 3 people.
Mhm.
We say, let's look at this and see if we can get something where a desk that would look better, would accommodate more people, be more flexible, and then we can do a value comparison and decide whether that's how we feel. And if Bob D's sufficiently insistent, he's likely to win. But I think somebody was saying that they were ready to, you know, we've been around this. If Bob had been there in December, we'd have said, okay. You know, he would have explained, doesn't want to spend more money. Thinks this will do what he sees as needed. We'll say, okay.
Mr. Chair, let me add one thing to that.
Yep.
In that line item, we have $150,000 for studio upgrades.
Right,
If we don't spend that money at the end of the year, it goes back into the cable, you know, account. We don't lose it, but we don't get the opportunity to spend it because we appropriated $150,000 in this year's budget for studio upgrades. So right now, if we don't take advantage of it by July 1, that goes away. And then it goes back into the account, but we were planning on, you know, upgrading
What
certain
were the,
pieces of equipment.
what were the other upgrades in that 150,000?
Conference room F,
Conference room, F,
part
you
of,
got
that was 125, but
Okay.
we have some other extra things that we were doing conference room F. Not much. That was, you know, that was just a line item, 150,000 for equipment upgrades.
to some degree, you have long range planning, you know, next year we'll do this enough. But some of it is also responding when a need arises. We might say, oh, we should do that first. And so you shift where the money goes. But ever since they changed the interpretation of the law, so the town meeting had to specifically appropriate, I guess it's appropriate,
That's right.
out of the cable fund
right.
for the cable to use. We've needed to get town meeting to appropriate some money so that it'll be there as these things come along. I don't know. I still haven't seen what Bob did, whether he did something about that.
He put $25,000 for upgrades for this up and coming budget.
Yes, I think that we should have conversation with him, and all of us conclude that's a kind of a small number. Depending on exactly how much has been accomplished. I don't
It would
know.
also,
Hmm?
it would also be a good idea to know what that $25,000 represents in his mind of expenditures.
I'm still trying to get a picture of what the $150,000 represents. Because if you spent 10 on a desk, even with conference room F, I don't understand where the other 140,000 would go.
Conference, aren't we paying for conference room F out of that now?
No, that's coming out of a town warrant for 125,000.
The town warrant.
Yep, that was a separate warrant, not part of this budget.
I don't remember that.
So Evan, I'll just say this is that I think it was our committee's intention to only spend $10,000 on the desk.
You
It
don't
was-
think it was?
No, that we were looking at something a lot more elaborate, that was more professional than what was originally presented, and therefore it would have spent a lot more funds that we had allocated. That now basically leaves a hole, as it were, or a situation where we have these other funds which are unaccounted for if it's now been spent on this other item.
What was the price of the desk that the committee was
There
looking
were
at?
three. Mr. Chair, may I respond to that?
Please.
There were three desks that we were looking at. And it was around $70,000, but this is furniture designed for studios. One was a television set for three that they sit around. One was a stage setting for, I think, 2 chairs, a table, and a flooring. And
And
then the other
railing.
one was a big bar top. And all of it, Evan, has all the electronics built into it. So it looks good in front, but behind it, it's on casters. You hook up all your electronics to it and it will just, everything just wheels into the prop room and gets stored in there. But the
Edge li-
ticket,
Go ahead,
the
sorry,
ticket,
Bob.
hold on, the ticket was about $70,000 for the three pieces.
That nice edge lighting that could be changed at any color of the spectrum, any number of things. Just
Anyway, it would have been nice
Good.
to have a dialogue about that. That's a big spread. And I thought we had some possibilities in between.
Of course, with that logo on it, the whole 9 yards.
Well,
I mean, it can still happen, but you know, July's coming around fast.
Right, but it just seems odd that the department head is gonna get furniture that you pick for him to do his job around. I mean, like
No,
Bob, when you did your office, I didn't spec anything in there, did I?
yeah, but this is,
No, you didn't.
No, I
But
did
we-
not, did I?
No.
this is what you see in
I'm just
here.
busting on, I'm just busting on Bob. Don't worry about it.
Please don't.
Well, I've been doing this. This is my 40th year. This is my 40th year on this committee. So I've been doing it a while and I get a little,
Yeah,
I think that we have a feeling of success in what we've done and the way we've done it. I think we have a good, I'd like to see more community participation, but I think that's generally quieting down as the internet comes in. But I think we're doing a lot of good stuff. I really like the recordings of the meetings. You know, I go in in the morning and I see they did what? And I want to click and go see them doing it. And we're getting to where Bob, there's a pipeline. It takes a while sometimes for a meeting I want to come through the pipeline. We might want to talk about hey, if you spend some money to get hardware that's newer than 10 or 15 years old. We have Macs that we bought, I don't know, in the aughts, certainly in the aughts, that are in the editing areas. I think he's probably using a PC, a town PC, but I'm not sure. But anyway, you could enhance things, or you could have a chance to talk about enhancing things, making access better. So
there are all kinds of things which get discussed that don't go anywhere. For example, certain cameras that people might think would be good to have, wireless cameras that they can walk around where you may be streaming high definition, possibly drones that could fly through the sky and take aerial shots. Any number of things that come up in the meetings that get discussed that basically don't pan out. So it doesn't necessarily mean that when somebody comes up with an idea that may not be too expensive, or maybe within our realm, is something that everybody agrees upon, that's the direction we should go in and what we should do. And so therefore, as a committee, is the conjoined efforts of everybody to come up with something that's reasonable.
yeah, I remember one. We had a request come from the staff, but actually, I suppose he was on staff at the time, but on a committee member too, was to get a GoPro back in the early days of GoPro.
Yes.
And I said, I really didn't quite see, he needed to explain better why we needed that. And I was never satisfied with the explanation, but we got it anyway. And I don't know whether it was ever used. So
Not used now.
maybe we were right, or maybe I was right. But we had a chance to, at least interact about it. Yeah, Corson remembers the GoPro.
So before Evan leaves, Chair, can I ask one more question?
Please.
Evan, where do you think this committee should be? And what do you think we should be doing?
Good
question, huh?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Let's go back to talking about your office. Let's
No,
be on that topic. No, so I'm trying to navigate, I think, between this committee, the department head, and the comments that the board made at their board meeting. I mean, at the end of the day, you have oversight over the cable budget. I don't foresee anywhere in the charter and or anything else that would give anyone else that authority. The select board has kept that in your charge, so I think that that's general budgetary oversight. I think you should be seeing the budget earlier than March 1st. I think that you should be getting a presentation. I think that there should be some dialogue around that. I tend to not agree with the level to which the committee is involved in the kind of day-to-day purchases. But that's certainly the realm in which you've operated for decades. And I think that we probably should just develop some kind of a threshold by where, if it's under X amount of dollars, and it won't be 500 anymore because nothing's under $500 now. But I think we should develop some kind of a guideline that says, look, if it's under this, we're not going to be voting on this content. We're gonna be voting on things above a certain threshold, right? It's just like we do, Bob, at work with procurement law under 10,000. Best business practices, blah 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 blah. So I think we should probably come to some kind of an agreement of what that threshold needs to be, so that there's a clear delineation between what is a daily type of purchase, what is operationally that you think that just comes normally through my office like every other PO in the town, and what you folks need to see and or vote on.
and we're not looking for the monthly bills. The gas, the sewer, the water, the
Right.
cleaning company,
You let me
all
do
those
the
other
boring.
miscellaneous bills.
Right.
That's not what we're talking about. We're just trying to being able to develop a budget and stay within that budget. I
Yeah.
think that's the key right there. The day-to-day bills is nothing. We did years ago, day-to-day bills, who's ever in that chair signs the bills and they just go, and then
Right,
we're just seeing them.
No, what I'm talking about beyond just that, right?
Yeah.
So, he needs a PC or needs I don't know, some type of equipment.
Well,
I don't know that, I think number threshold winds up being a good way to separate that. I mean, that's how I operate, and what I have to bring before the select board and what I just do as a daily course of business.
yeah, well, how about my point that we have a level, the in-between level that doesn't require the committee as a whole to approve it. Just a phone call or an email. We have this problem, we need to get this, whatever. Okay, go ahead. From right now, it would be me, but whoever we decide. But one person, 1 minute, 1 day, to be sure it's
Well, I think
within the committee's, realm or
well, I think the committee needs to decide how that operates, because I can't, even today, I can't do that with just the chair of the select board. There are things that require the entire board, and there are things that require just a conversation with the chair, but none of them involve money.
Evan, do you think for a number, do you think $1,000 for out of the ordinary is a good number?
I honestly haven't, I don't know what you're buying. I
Well,
mean,
we don't
I don't know what anything costs. This is not my area of,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
if we
So-
had Bob, we could talk to him about it.
I know, but you have me right now.
Well, but
Okay.
you just said you don't know the number.
All right, then the number's 5,000. How's that?
No,
Okay, well,
How about 500?
$500?
Yeah, well. You get a lot of paper clips for that.
You sure do.
We don't get tape anymore.
You,
I don't,
you can,
um,
you can get a pretty expensive microphone for $500.
Mr. Berger, what's the threshold for a PO in the town of Grafton?
$5,000, isn't it?
Mhm.
Phew.
That's why I picked it. It wasn't arbitrary.
He never
Um,
spent anywhere near that small a number.
Right. Okay. So then I don't know. I think the committee needs to spend some time discussing what they think the threshold is. If it's $1,000, then it's $1,000, and well, figure out how to work within that.
Okay. How about if Bob talks to us and we all come to a conclusion together?
Yeah, well, I'm working on that. I mean, there seems to be some interpersonal issues that are creating some difficulty navigating the committee. But that's ultimately what I'd like to see you get back to. I mean, when I started this job, I was told that I have nothing to do with the cable committee or the cable fund at all. And it seems to be selective day to day when I'm in charge of it and when I'm have nothing to do with it. So, I'd like to go back to having less to do with it. Not that I don't enjoy talking to all you gentlemen, but
Get
I
rid
got
of-
other stuff to work on.
Who told you you didn't have anything to do with it?
Much everyone that was involved at the time when I started. So that was
Well,
that was my introduction, my first say hour in the role. So, but yeah, I mean, I would like to work out what your expectations are as well as what my expectations would be as far as what my role is and what you see that being. So I don't think that's overtly clear either. So when we get into situations like this, I'd like to, have a clear understanding with you folks of where I start and stop. Because I don't think that's an area that's very clearly defined anywhere. Besides me having, in theory, appointment authority.
well, Bob B, figure it out.
Me figure it out?
Yeah, you're the one with all the money, or you do all the money.
I know. And that's that, and I'm at loss. I'm at a loss. I just,
Mhm.
I did not work on the budget. I don't know where the budget is. I can produce a report, but that's as far as I can go right now because I had no planning for this year, next year, and the year after.
So I would go and read the notes on the document that I had just showed you that
I saw it.
Right.
I-
So I would
I-
take a look at that. I mean, at the end of the day, it does not appear, in my opinion, from looking at what you do annually, that anything in that budget is gonna create any kind of havoc within the cable committee that could not be rectified by the
Absolutely.
fall
Absolutely.
second annual town meeting if you had to make a change.
Mhm.
I think we have, while it's not optimal, I would argue that we have a little bit of time to parse our way through that.
Before this Springtown meeting.
No, I doubt it, honestly, because we're,
Yeah. Well, that,
but I also, but you're not in a place where you're not gonna have the funding to operate, is what I'm saying. So you might only have 25,000 in your,
Equipment upgrades.
thank you, equipment
You're welcome.
upgrades. All I could think of was the word microphone there for a second. Equipment upgrades and, if that's not enough to get through the remainder of the year, then, we have a second bite at the apple, and that's what I would.
No, we're gonna be fine with that, Evan. And if for some reason, God forbid, the server blows up, we can always go up and ask for, at one of our town meetings and ask for a transfer because that's what that town meeting's for.
Right.
yeah, and you're off the air for 5 months.
No, we won't be off the air for 5 months.
Yeah, they only have 2 town meetings a year usually.
I understand.
Yeah,
So
that's my,
is
uh,
that what, so
if I could, I don't think I have a copy of what you just showed us, Evan, for some
Okay.
reason.
Okay.
So if you can send that to me, I'll at least be less deficient in what I know.
Okay.
Okay. Are we? So you don't think anything's gonna change between now and town meeting in terms of budget?
Well, I would say this, I would look at it, right? I would mull it over.
Yep.
If there's anything in there that you think is catastrophic, you let me know. It has already been presented to the finance committee.
Yeah, I know.
So, you know, and it doesn't mean you can't change it, but I generally try to deviate very little once it's been through the public hearing process, just as a matter of good government more than anything else. But let me know if there's an issue there.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we'll have to work on,
Yeah.
some of the other issues separately.
Okay.
The budget's fine. We can live with the budget.
You think that is true, Bob? That my big concern was that we just have enough money in there to be able to cover what we might find we need to do after, was it July 1st?
Absolutely. The budget's fine as submitted. We're just not doing any additional.
Well,
With this year's budget that we're in right now, that's where we need to make some moves if we're gonna do anything with the equipment upgrade.
it's really too late.
It's
By
never
the
too
time
late.
you get bids and do all of that,
Well, I'm not talking about just studio furniture. There's other things that we can spend the money on that's equipment upgrades. I've been wanting to change all the chairs for the audience in conference room F. That's equipment upgrades.
able purpose. But whatever. All right, well, I don't see the timing working out, but we'll just stumble along and hope for the best.
That's the government's motto. So you're right on target.
Well,
Stumble along and hope for the best. That's my daily routine.
yeah. Doctor asked me whether taking a new pill had helped, and I said, well, it didn't hurt and it might have helped.
Hey,
He liked that. He likes to give pills. All right, well,
Evan,
is
thank you
everybody
for coming
happy?
tonight.
Is
What's that,
everybody, is everybody
Thank
happy
you.
or at least willing to let Evan go do something helpful? No?
Yeah, hold on. Evan, thank you for coming to the meeting tonight.
Yes.
sure. I apologize for not having better or more robust answers. We'll get through it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Um,
Evan.
Thank you. Have a
nice
great night.
evening.
Okay. Minutes. We have at least one set of minutes.
Well, the minutes from the previous meeting.
Yes.
Anybody to make a motion to accept the minutes as written?
I'll make
So
a
moved.
motion,
Did
I'll make a
somebody,
motion to accept the minutes from the March 18 meeting.
Second,
we had at least one person make a motion and one person do a second. I think we had two of. Anyway, is there any discussion? Hearing none. Bob Berger,
aye.
Carl,
Hi,
Michael,
Aye.
Corson,
Aye.
Andy? Andy. No.
Andy is just listening.
Oh.
Andy's one of our selectmen.
Oh,
He's not gonna vote on that
oh,
unless he wants to.
oh dear. Yes. Well, yeah, we should have the vote. All right. Bills. Did we? I don't think we got any new bills, did we?
No,
Hmm?
I don't think we did.
Okay.
And there is no treasurer's report because it's
Right. That's
too
okay.
early in the month.
That's okay. Access activity report. I read through what Bob D sent us. Did everybody else? Is there anything you want to talk about on it? Apparently not.
Uh,
Um,
Well, my
Hmm?
only comment was that, of course, in reading it from start to finish, March 15th of 2024, he clearly does state that the desk is in fact there,
Yes.
delivered.
And in one of his messages, he said it was really good and he's happy with it. I think we should go investigate. We should go look at it. But and see how it flexes. Which brings us, I think, the only other thing we have is our next meeting. We're gonna do it on a Monday. I think the 29th is the only Monday available in this month.
I'm okay with that.
Does anybody have a problem with Monday, the 29th?
Nope, I'm okay.
It's fine.
Okay. We'll meet on the 29th at 7 o'clock by Zoom, probably. Maybe we should meet in the conference room at the studio that's just been fitted out and used. I don't think about that. We used to actually meet in person on Saturday mornings.
Yeah, I'm not doing Saturday mornings, but okay, if you want to meet at the studio, that means we have to set up cameras.
Well, I thought that, no, this is the conference room, the newly
Oh,
fitted out conference room.
oh,
I think it was in the report this month.
It was about that conference room. Microphones are hanging down.
I
I
have no
could have
idea.
I could have thought Mr. Berger, you talked about making saw cuts in the concrete, putting things
That's
up
happening.
through.
This is something I had no idea of what that renovation's all about. But I'm assuming with reading the report that he has microphones being suspended below the ceiling. That's what it sounds like to me. And
That wasn't the
mine,
plan. That wasn't the
no,
plan.
no. These are two separate issues. Mine was cut the concrete floor to give you power under the conference room table and give you internet under the conference room table. So you don't have to drag that from the wall to wherever they are in that, on that conference room table. So those are two separate projects. Mine went through the committee that you're aware of. The other one, I have no idea about that one. I
Well,
wasn't
what
part
about-
of that. at
What
all.
about cameras and all of that? How's that being done?
I can't answer any of that because I wasn't part of the planning of that.
None of us were.
I understand.
Well, okay, if I don't know that it's gonna happen, but would everybody be able to come down if we met in the conference room in the
Sure.
studio?
Sure.
Is there anybody?
Okay.
I some of the groups I'm in, we got some of the people who just don't come in person. Okay, we'll
The Veterans Committee uses that conference room, and they do have like 2 cameras that are, I think, ceiling mounted. And you're right about the microphones coming down, so.
and well, I guess I ought to look at one of their videos. I know that I'm involved with the Regional Planning Commission, and they're holding meetings, they're holding hybrid meetings now in the Mass Highway new building over near UMass. And it has area mics, someplace up towards the ceiling. And it's a battle to have good sound. So we'll see. Hanging mics has never been the best thing, but it's a whole lot easier than having to trot out microphones for everybody. And it's probably about equal with boundary mics, the little flat mic that sits on the table. Okay. One more item on the agenda. I need a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Moved and seconded. That's not debatable. Berger,
Aye.
Carl,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Corson.
I.
I vote aye. We're adjourned.